Hey guys, welcome to Flutter Flame tutorials. This is one of the many videos that we're gonna post how to make the 2D game in Flutter using Flame package. So to do that, you should be installing something called Flame 1.8 18.0. It's there in pub.dev. So this it's cut, I know, but it is Flame 1.18.2. So you have to add it in pubspec YAML. So I believe most of you are Flutter developers, so you'll be knowing a little bit. You can watch this video even if you're a entry level Flutter developer or very beginner or completely new, but I wouldn't suggest completely new, but still you can cope up with it. So everything is ready. This is a new file which I'm going to be calling it, which I'll be calling it in main.dot. So I'll be importing I already did add in pubspec YAML, so I'll be importing something called flame game. This will be a little bit different than what we are going to do in Flutter regular tutorials, because it requires a little bit of extra things and changes that we don't usually see in the regular application development, because this is a game engine and whole this thing is a game widget. Now these two or something you should be installing. So now there is a quick formula. This, I wouldn't recommend you to memorize it, but know it. Once we start doing it, once you start doing things, you know the importance and everything. So you need two things, you need three things: onload, render, and update. So what will onload do is, I'll tell you in the video. So render would require a canvas or a background and what kind of color it is, and update would say what will happen if today we are going to be creating a moving box. So update will tell what will happen every time the frame rate gets updated. So what will be how will the screen behave, and onload again will tell few things such as the size, the position, everything. So you can consider on this onload as adding components, and render as adding canvas and color, and update as adding movements. This is a wrong word, but let's say adding movements in frame rate. So every time frame rate gets updated, what will happen? That's what update is about. And again in onload we'll add size and position of where it should begin. It should be begin. So now let's start building it. This, as I told you, there won't be any stateless or stateful widget. So here I'll be calling sample game, and I will be extending with something called flame game, which you all must do. So here for everything you must add override. So just remember it, for every function, render, update, onload, everything, just add override. So here let us create a future function. It will be empty, so void. So first is the onload, right? So don't give anything for now. Come out of this sam game, come out of this class completely, and create any component you want. So I'll be doing something called box, and for any component add something called, you can memorize this, positional component. Now next is render, right? So what did I tell you? For everything you must override. So here there's no need of future function, so we'll create void render. So game engine knows what render is, and render needs something called canvas. And I told you canvas is nothing but the background. Whenever you do art or a paint, you have to paint on something, right? You need something to paint, a floor or a wall. So that is a canvas. So sometimes you have to load it. Yeah. So in render what we do is we need paint. So here this might be a little bit confusing, but try to grab what we're trying to do. We're calling the game engine paint, and we're calling color, and we are specifying, you can even memorize this. So we are specifying, let's say blue, okay, blue gray, and we have to tell what do we need on the canvas. This whole thing is about the canvas, what do we need and what color do we need. So we have to tell something, right? What do we need? So there is a widget called there is a this thing called draw rectangle. So the size of rectangle, it will be size of rectangle only. So instead of specifying, you can say size to size to rectangle. So this will work. Paint, again we are calling here the paint. So this is done. So what is the next thing? So we are going to be calling the update. So update just tells what anything moves, or what what will happen every time it the frame rate gets updated. So frame rate is different for me and you. Mine will be something, yours will be something. To keep it equal, we'll be using called something called dt. Dt is delta time. So once you start using it, you'll automatically get to know. And I know here onload is still an error, but in void, in the update, we need to tell position. I know the position will be plus or is equal to, remember this vector 2, we'll be using it everywhere. So we need to tell what is the speed that something moves. So y is vertical, x is horizontal. If we give x, it will move horizontally. So we'll give 100.0 into dt. As I told you, what dt does, it unifies the whole thing, the frame rate thing. So now since we have used the box, okay, let us create one more thing which we had to create, right? So here we have specified we have to create onload again. So void onload. uh, so now we are going to be creating a size, and as I told you, vector 2. So let us keep this a square, so 50-50, and we are adding another position here. So do not be confused. Here the position is from where a rectangle should start. The rectangle, we have told what's the color and where, uh, what it is, rectangle, square or circle, and we are told how much speed it should move every time frame rate gets updated, but we haven't told where it should start and what is the size. So starting, I can say 100, I can say 0. It's just from where it should begin. Now whatever we have created a component here, keep on adding this component in onload. So there is a function called add, and we are going to be adding box. So now let us restart it and see what is going to be updating, or what is. Okay, there is still an error because this is an asynchronous function. We have used asynchronous, yeah, async. So now it will work. Okay, so can you see the y is on 0, so we can make y on 100, and probably we can see now that it is moving neatly. Let me restart it, and you can see it will move. Yeah, can you see this? It will move. Let us keep this as 0, and it will move from 0 to here. So you can always change your speed here. So now I'm giving 300, so it is moving for a speed. So remember this onload, update, render. So this is the basic to basic things. So when you do it, add another component and try to experiment with the paint. So paint, it can be paint, fill and everything. So try to experiment it, and using the same thing, I will be uploading a second video, which I'll be doing it soon, but it takes some time. But so I'll be doing a second video on the further components, but for now it's render, update, onload. So remember this and try to do the position components on your own. Try to do the components on your own. Add another component and add it here. So for adding it here, you need to use add all, and to call it in the main dot, you have to use this game widget. So you have to call the game widget, and it will return a game itself, and you have to call whatever you want to, because whole thing is a game widget. So thank you guys, please do practice it. I know very few people are seeing this video, but please do practice.